Ed, tell me how your relationship with James Angleton got going.
Well, I was doing an investigation of Lee Harvey Oswald. I wanted to do his biography, and I had gone to see the Soviet agent Yuri Nosenko, who claimed to be the case officer in the KGB when Oswald had defected to Russia. And when I got done with him, I didn't believe that he was telling me the truth. So I asked around in Washington who knew someone that didn't believe in Nosenko, and people said, well, the only person that doesn't believe him has been fired from the CIA, James Angleton. James Jesus Angleton is a Mexican middle name. So I wrote Angleton, and I told him that I'd seen Nosenko. He was infuriated that the CIA was making this person he considered a fake defector available to journalists, and he arranged to meet me in the Kensington Orchid Farm, which is outside of Washington. He's a collector of orchids. I know nothing about orchids, but he made the orchids so fascinating as flowers of deception. He didn't discuss anything about Oswald, and he didn't mention Nosenko, but he told me about each of the tribes of orchids, and I wound up ordering about 30 orchids, which then came to my house in New York, and I had to build a greenhouse for them. And then I went back and I began to see Angleton on a regular basis in Washington, and I went and visited him in Arizona, and I found him to be an absolutely fascinating mind, a mind that treated the entire world as it was his personal jigsaw puzzle, and he would basically take one idea and see how many permutations he could work into that idea. He was very discreet, although he sent me to see the other people who had worked for him, Scotty Myler, who was his chief of operations, Ray Rocca, who was his chief of research, and a few others, Bill Hood, who was an operations man. And so gradually, even when I did my book on diamonds, which was a good deal later, Angleton arranged for me to see the people in Israeli intelligence who would have known about the diamond trade. So he's extremely helpful. Angleton was extremely intelligent. He died, sadly, of lung cancer, but 10 years later, he was proven right by the cases of Aldrich Ames and Robert Hansen, both moles in the CIA, and it turned out that KGB had penetrated the CIA, they had penetrated the FBI, and they had ran a major, extensive disinformation operation against the American government by using these moles. So everything Angleton said, even though people said he was crazy at the time, in historic perspective, maybe he was lucky, but he's proven correct.